I got the recipe, never gonna let any op get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but hey, this is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company definitely show your trajectory. This ain't a diss cause I say it respectfully.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back here for another recap of The Chi. This is season 6, episode 6, titled Boyz to Men. Before we get started in the conversation, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell and the like button. And so now we got that out the way. I cannot wait to talk about this episode. I mean, we might as well come out with it.
What did we say?
We knew who was going to be in that casket.
We knew it.
Oh my God.
I was busting at the seams. I was like, this got to be the episode because there's so much like foreshadowing leading up to it. And it was like, oh, you just feel that it was going to happen.
And I said to myself, don't kill him while he's in prayer. And what do they do?
As soon as he finished with prayer.
Was he finished? I think he was.
Yeah, he had just finished his prayer.
Yeah, man. Oh my God.
Oh, Stanley. Whew. Man, it was so many things that let you know that this was going to happen from, the argument with him and Papa.
Yeah.
And then, him reconciling with Vic and everything, and, apologizing and whatnot, praying with him too. Mm-hmm. And then, the way Douda looked at him when he went to the graduation.
That stare down was it. I was like, oh, this. I said, you see the stare down in the auditorium, and what also, foreshadowed when Douda's guy told him to listen. No, we haven't been able to get anybody to respond to hiding the guns and stuff. They're all shook by Pastor Jackson's sermon. Mm-hmm. So now he messing with his money and messing with his business and stuff. And I was like, uh-oh. And then the last straw with Bakari, because he basically, like, all of them stepped up and shielded Bakari, which I thought was a good look. But
it was.
He like hugged Bakari and just like shuffled Bakari away and sat him with his family. And I was like, ooh.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. Bakari, you got to watch out for. Because, first of all, you beat him up. Mm-hmm. And then second of all, you took away what looked to be or was becoming like a stepdad.
Yeah.
And Bakari is not going to sit well with that. No. And, I really feel for Papa because, it's hard to lose a parent, like that after an argument when you can't, you don't have the time to say I love you or I'm sorry. So that's going to be a real issue. And Kevin may have to rethink that move because Papa's going to need a lot of, coming together because this is going to really hit him hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that too. And I was like, they didn't end on a good note. There was definitely that argument, but I was like, if there's any consolation, at least he did record that podcast where Stanley really poured out his heart to his son and, said his intentions and was like, I want the best for you. So I was like, that's something that he has that he can hold on to forever. But it's really going to hurt Papa so bad.
Yeah. I mean,
my gosh.
It almost seems like that walkout just negates the podcast though, because, while it was a good one to have with his dad, and at some point in time, I'm sure he'll go back to it. But, to walk out of the house in the vein in which he did, and then only to find that his father is dead. I can't imagine that.
Well, that's the thing. I do wonder who's going to be the one to find Stanley, because I'm thinking it might be Mom, since she's probably going to be the one home. I don't think Papa is going to come back home immediately.
No.
He's homeless right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about Bakari? But where does that leave Bakari, though? I mean, does he go back?
That's an awkward situation to be in, and Bakari kind of explained his situation this episode with the introduction of his sister, and how they were orphaned and ended up being split up and whatnot. And so, the fact that Stanley really was, like you said, a stepfather to him, it might be awkward for him to return to that household without Stanley, because the mom, she kind of didn't have as much of a role, it seems, in kind of helping Bakari out as Stanley did.
Right.
So I'm hoping that the men's group and the fact that they pulled all the youngins in, that will be his source of kind of support and whatnot. And I'm thinking maybe even, Vic or somebody can find some place for him to go that's stable. But the sister, I don't know, I'm a little worried about her because she's a little rough around the edges, and she seemed like she might be into some stuff because she talked about how she makes her money outside of her rap career, and I was like,
oh, she's straight street. I mean, she got street written all over.
I was like, Bakari, don't tell her about Douda, please.
Well, I don't see that, but you know what? I mean, we have a situation, and Douda seems to be the plague of the whole community. And you got Vic, and you got, and we also said Lene's brother. Remember, we said
Jamal.
Jamal. We said that he would come in. That he would probably take Bakari, and we, because initially we thought he might rough him up, but we saw in his face the last episode that there was some compassion for Bakari, and he showed that. He did see himself
in Bakari, because even when Bakari said, because even Bakari's even won me over, because
really.
when I heard about his background and stuff, I felt for him. I'm like, now I want Bakari to win. Right. And when he said in the car, like, is she done? Like, Nene is done with me, and he was like, she's all I had to live for. And I was like, wow.
That was sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad.
But what was his name? Jamal?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of iterated that, he understood how he felt about that. So I like that union, but who's gonna take him out? Look, Bakari is no joke. And he's not Emmett. Emmett is not built to be taking out anybody.
No.
That was the dumbest move Emmett could make. First of all, if you got to practice what you're going to say in the mirror and your hand shaking, this is not you, bruh. And
his dad told him that. This
yeah,
is not him.
That's what he said. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you half a carrot for getting the gump to go up and and approach Douda like that. But have you lost your mind? I mean,
he was brave. He was brave to do that, to take a stand.
Okay.
He was brave to do that.
Tiffany, there's a very thin line between brave and stupidity.
I know.
And listen, I think he crossed the stupidity side.
Yeah, he did. He did. But I think he did earn a little bit of respect from Douda too, because what he said was true.
That's true.
I felt him when he said to him, like, if you kill me, he said, people F me.
Right.
He said they just work for you.
Exactly.
And it's true. Like,
no,
I
true.
really feel like to take Douda down, I said it before in one of the other episodes, it's going to be a community project. And you see everybody has a reason to kill Douda. And even with the situation with Vic telling Rob said, what's going to happen now, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. So he went and told his mom. Like I said, I think everybody won't be involved in the takedown of Douda. Everybody.
Yeah, it's looking that way. I mean, everybody has something on the line. Like you said, Rob has the situation with his mom and the money that he's trying to get to invest in his business. Emmett, the same deal. Like, Keisha straight up told him, I'm leaving. Like, you putting me and the family in danger. She done walked out on. So everybody has something to lose at this point. Vic has his career, in the campaign. I mean, not in the campaign, but in the community and whatnot. Like, he's really trying to make a positive impact. And you can see how affected he is. Like, it's weighing very heavily on him.
But Tiffany, you were right too. I think of the last episode when we were talking about Rob's mom. Because remember, Rob said he's not built like this, and his mother said something like, well, I am. And so
he gangster.
She's straight gangster. I didn't see it initially. I just thought it was a lot of, anger, but she seems like she could do it herself if she needed to.
She probably will. She might use Bianca to set him up, and get him in a compromising situation and take him out herself.
Yep. Took the words right out of my mouth. And Tim, I think you were right too when you said that that they might have had videos on Vic and Douda together.
Yeah,
but sure enough,
Listen, you can't go anywhere now without there being video and surveillance. When I think about when you watch the news and stuff these days, a lot of people, there's video everywhere, places where you wouldn't even think there's video. There's camera.
So what does Victor do? I I'm trying to, I put myself in his shoes in that dilemma. You stay quiet in hopes that it blows away. But again, they have those pictures, and those pictures are a tell-all. It may not show exactly what went on, but it's enough for the FBI to make a case. And in doing so, they will hound you until they got what they need. So do you go in and cooperate with them, or do you sit back and let chips fall where they may? What do you do?
I think his cooperation was telling Rob what happened.
Yeah, that's
true. Because the thing was, when he first was having the conversation and he said, "I have to tell you something," I was like, "Okay, are the feds there?" And I thought about it, and I was like, "No." Think about what he said to his boo. He was like, "I may be wearing a suit, but I'm a street dude."
Right.
Street dudes are not going to snitch to the feds. I don't see him doing that. But I was like, so I think the lesser two evils was to tell Rob.
But that's snitching.
And let him handle it.
But he snitched still because he told Rob. Now I get it.
He told Rob, but he ain't tell the feds. I think it's worse if you tell the feds. If you tell
it.
Well, yeah.
Him telling dude that who killed his uncle, that's doing him a solid.
Right.
That's doing him a solid. And like, okay, I gave you the information. Do what you gotta do.
The only thing
problem goes away.
Well, that's not necessarily true though, because they still have a dead body and they have pictures of somebody that they think is a suspect with another suspect. So it's like, just because Douda is out the way doesn't mean you still not an accomplice.
And not only that.
Well, they don't know what they got him in the car, a picture with Douda and everything, but they don't have him. They don't know the circumstances behind that meeting. Even though we said Douda was a pariah, and and it doesn't look good, but that's still, they don't have anything else. Like if they come up with DNA with Vic's DNA or this, that, and the other and stuff, that's one thing. All they have right now are pictures.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sticky situation, and I think Vic definitely, I think he did the right thing by not cutting the deal with the feds, because then that he loses community trust, and he still could have the prospects of jail time. So it's a lose-lose situation if he works with the feds.
And you can end up dead. Look what happened to Brandon. Brandon cooperated with the feds.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. The unfortunate aspect of it all, though, he could still wind up dead. I mean, because like Rob, I can see Rob trying to go take him out, and and then mistakenly says to Douda where he got his information from, and then he doesn't take him out, and now Douda's on top of Vic all day. So I mean, any scenario can work from this.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like wide open. It's the wild west now, but it's you know what, the bottom line is y'all got to get rid of Douda, and y'all got to do it fast.
Douda got to go.
Yeah, there's no contemplation. Y'all got to go.
Douda got to go.
Yeah, y'all got to
absolutely
fast.
Yeah, for sure. So it's something else, and the other thing that Vic has working against him is that it's breaking down his family, because when you have a situation like this going on, it affects everyone. So like I said, of course, Fatima is now worried about what that means for their relationship. And then you have Jake over here who's kind of left in the dark and starting to feel excluded from the family when, they come together for this men's group, which is why I'm glad they still do this, because they really do need this outlet. They got so much stress and major issues on their plate that each and every single one of them really, really needs that men's group.
I'm just waiting for them to open up and
for real, right?
Right, and say,
because I feel like they glazing on the surface.
Right, that's exactly what they're doing. I want you to identify the elephant in the room, and that is Douda. Open up and let's all say, our problem is Douda. What are we gonna do about it?
Yes, that got to be an episode coming soon.
Well, that might be now that that Papa Stanley is dead.
Yeah.
That might be the next conversation. If they, because part of me was like, okay, they didn't shoot Papa's dad. They strangled him, and I'm like, and you see him on the ground, and you're like, are they gonna say, you know, it might not have been foul play? But I'm like, but because he was strangled, there has to be some marks or whatever. I'm sure that is just, you know, windpipe and everything.
Well, you're gonna have that rope mark.
You gonna have
he should have rope mark. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be evident that it was Douda or some, you know.
He didn't die of a heart attack, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't wait until they kind of really, like you said, open up, tell the truth, and expose their real problem so that they can get a real plan together to get Douda out of here.
And I thought Vic was ready to do it. I mean, he kind of hinted around it in a sense, but they just keep leaving it on the table. Y'all got to get.
But also, as a community leader and somebody like a politician now, he has like a real role of responsibility.
Exactly.
And you can't be out here trying to coerce people to do stuff on your behalf.
But he is. And so, you know, look, when he, like you said, Tip.
But he ain't coerced, he just told the truth.
Well, I mean,
same difference because it's the same.
Everybody.
Right. It's the same difference because it has the same outcome. So
right. But that's keeping your hands clear.
But you can't be so blunt about it. He gotta figure out a way to make it seem like he ain't come up with the idea.
Look, well, listen, Darnell, don't rule Darnell out either, because the fact that Emmett came to him and asked for that gun, and he told Emmett he's not built for that. Emmett may not be built for it, but Darnell said, you remember his time in the streets, and I think that he would do what he had to do to protect his son and his family. Because the fact that even Jada couldn't sleep. She was like, I can't sleep. I'm worried about Emmett. You know, I feel that something's wrong. And I was like, man, that's such a mother, because mothers do, you know, have that intuition and stuff and can sense when stuff is wrong with their children.
Right. Well, okay. I know we're not making any predictions right now, but the only person I see that can really, well, I'm thinking that if you're gonna groom somebody for this, I think Bakari is right for it. He's inside, and he don't mind. You know, if given this all the circumstances that we have playing up to this part, I don't see him batting an eye.
I agree with you, Ron, because first of all, he's the one that kind of at this point doesn't have anything to lose.
Right.
Douda done already beat up on him this episode. And on top of that, now he's really just like in a position where I think Stanley's loss is going to hit him really hard. And the fact that he witnessed Douda threatening Stanley, he going to put two and two together and probably, you know, want some kind of revenge, especially when he sees how it affects Papa, you know. And the situation, like you said, with Lene, he was like, she all I got to live for. Now, I don't know if the introduction of the sister might, you know, stop him from being reckless, but on the other hand, she might help him.
I get ready to say.
She might help him. And you know who else can help? Yes. I think Nuck is an X factor. Yeah. I think he's an X factor, and I'll tell you why.
Actually, though, that could make sense, though.
Because he's the inside man. And I noticed that when Douda was beating on Bakari, he had his back turned. It was like he couldn't watch. I think that he really likes Bakari and stuff. And then, you know, he also has a relationship with Rock. Like that conversation they had outside and stuff too. So I was like, let me get to Nuck. Because Nuck the inside man.
And he moves up. He moves up if Douda is taken out. So that makes perfect sense.
He can run the streets.
He can run the streets.
He put the battery in Douda's back to get Q out of there.
Exactly.
If he can get Douda out the way too, he's the man.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And what I was starting to say about
but people rock with Nuck though. That's the difference. Like people can't stand Douda and everything and stuff, but people still rock with Nuck.
Well, maybe Nuck and Bakari will get together because they'll have the community behind them for sure.
And they both inside men.
And they're both inside men.
That's what's gonna have to happen, because anybody else Douda is gonna see coming.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
has to be somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that a lot. All right, well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about Kevin because, Ron, you were absolutely right about the half-gallon haterade that Nina had on deck.
Yeah, she went full gallon on him. I mean, but we knew that would happen. I mean, it is her son. And y'all know a situation that I was talking about earlier. We have that same kind of situation in my home. So I won't stop there, but I get it. I really do. I get it. But you know, Kevin seems to be very stable. He's got money. He can make the trip, and if it works out, that's excellent. If it doesn't, like I always
I'm
say,
back home.
right? I always say, wherever you go, whether it's abroad or even another state, have enough money to get back home. Whether it's a plane ticket,
Agreed.
bus
I
fare.
think the thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the thing with Nina is because she already expressed in an earlier episode that she feels unneeded, and I think that that's her biggest thing. Like all her kids are growing up and I don't think she's ready to be an empty nester. Like I don't think she really faced the reality of what that is. And then the fact that her and Dre are having relationship issues, I think that makes her feel even more isolated. And she's like, dang, like I'm really out here by myself. I'm on a limb. So I think that's what her deal is.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I agree with Ron. We knew that she was going to have a hard time with that news.
Right.
But I think when Kevin coming on the heels of the argument between her and Dre about the ex, that didn't help either.
Exactly.
Because she was already in a space where her back was up.
Right.
And then when he came over with the news, she wasn't going to receive that well anyway. But I appreciate Dre's response because Dre was like, all right, Kev, because that's how I feel like this is a good opportunity for Kevin, and I think it's something that he should pursue. And like you say, he's young enough, he 18, whatever. If it don't work out, then he's still young enough to start again or whatever.
Yeah,
I appreciated Dre's support. And I do agree with her response. Like, yes, you should be supportive and kind of show that love. But also, I think Nina was pissed because Dre didn't back her up. And I think she was also kind of like, I'm the actual primary parent here.
Yeah.
And you kind of overstepping we talked about this with Tiara and Marcus.
Yeah.
And kind of how the parent relationship goes. And but the thing that Nina has to understand is that when you marry Dre, like those kids really took Dre in as a father or a mother figure, however you want to say it. But Kevin even said as much. He was like,
she's my mom too.
That's my mom too.
Exactly. And so exactly that's what I was like. I kind of faulted Nina for that. But Dre was tripping a lot in this episode on her stance about being friends with exes, and that's a lesbian thing, and it's okay in their community. And I'm like, I don't know about that, Dre.
Dre, you reaching like Dre, like you reaching. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with having
from a distance with
exes and stuff. But I'm like, but Dre was looking longingly at Monica when she walked out that room. Dre was looking like, I said, I don't know, this doesn't look healthy right here. This looks like a disaster waiting to happen.
She was fixated. No.
And then when you consider how their relationship ended, because Dre was left heartbroken. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, when you are the one that was left out on the limb, when that person does come around, you can't help but to rehash old feelings. Mm-hmm. Because there was no closure there. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm like, Dre, you really are tripping. And, when she was trying to get Tracy and Jada to kind of validate her, I think they was like, I don't know about this one. I mean, Tracy tried to clear her name. She was like, I didn't know.
Right. I mean, they could see down the road the kind of trouble that this is going to bring. And like you said, that being so defensive with her against, with her ex against, Nina, that was crazy. Come on now, you got to lighten up. Don't throw it in her face about how you need to be friends because you don't have any gay friends. Okay,
That's
make
wild.
some, but go make some, but not with your ex.
Right. I mean, go out and mingle. There are all kind of groups and meetups that they be having and stuff like this. I'm like,
I was like, okay, Dre, you reaching and you think you gonna force this on her? Like that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable.
Very.
And she's already because she cheated. So she's already in a space where she's feeling guilty and stuff like that and everything. Nah, I don't think this is a good idea.
Absolutely not.
Matter of fact, I don't even know if Monica should stay working at the center. Thanks, Tracy.
Well, well, you know what? And that's another thing too. Now that Tracy knows, I don't know. Maybe you may have to go to Monica and say, look, this is a little close to home and it's causing some disturbance that I don't really need in my life or in my friends' lives. So we may have to terminate your employment right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like she's an essential employee. She's kind of there to give relaxation and massages and stuff like that to the employees and help them unwind. But you don't have to have that role.
Absolutely not.
So I'm like, yeah, I think old girl can go.
Yep,
but it seems like, it's like everybody is having relationship problems this episode. When we talked about Kevin going away, I thought Maisha would be down because of her response last week where she talked about, LA possibly being beneficial for her career. But this week she kind of flipped it up and she was like, I want to be a hometown success first. Like, I'm okay with staying in Chicago. And, we know Maisha has a strong personality and she knows what she wants. So that's why I was like, it kind of shocked me that she wasn't really down to go to Cali.
Well, she did agree to be flown out.
Yes,
right, first class.
I think it just Maisha seems to be if she makes the decision, then it's okay. But I think what it was it's probably more the fact that the two of them just got back together, and now he wants to leave to go to Cali, and I think that's what it was more taxing on her than anything else. I think once he sat her down and let her know, hey, I'm still with you.
We can still do this.
We can do this. And so, and I think when she heard that, she kind of relaxed. And because I can tell you right now, if she does go, she'll probably wind up staying because it is a good place for her to be. But again, Chicago's not a bad place to make a name for yourself either.
Right. And I think that's, her loyalty to her city. But I think the other issue she had with Kevin is, like she said, she was like, I had to hear from the streets that you were leaving instead of you telling me. Right. So that was one of the biggest issues that she had.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it seems like Maisha might be a little intimidated by sis coming in town, Bakari's sister, because she was spitting. I mean,
all right.
Yeah, she was spitting. She reminds me of Snoop from The Wire. But
yeah, she does.
She was dope. And Maisha was hating. She was doing something. And Gemma was looking all like, remember earlier in the episode, Tierra was telling her, like, you need to get somebody else on your roster and stuff. And
she handled her business.
Yeah, sis had the crowd hype and stuff. Even Kevin was like, she is good.
Yeah.
I like Gemma. She handled her business. I mean, she came out very professional, even though she was being hit on. But
but you know what? And you see Jake slid over there real quick, like this is my girl. But I'm like, Gemma, she's still young and impressionable and stuff, and she's trying to make money. But it makes me wonder too, like, would she be curious? Is she that impressionable as well?
I didn't see that. I didn't see that in her conversation.
I think it's about business. I think it's about business.
What I thought. Yeah. No, I agree. I think she left enough rope for the child for Bakari's sister to want to take a chance with her.
Yeah.
So she
needs it because her being able to stay in that line of business is kind of hanging on her success and pulling in somebody else.
Right.
And Marcus kept pushing this week about the college thing, telling her to apply and do all these things. So it's like she kind of don't have a choice. I mean, Tiara stood down this episode and let Marcus parent. So
Yeah.
Except she was a little quiet this time, and
Yeah, she stayed in her lane. But
stayed
the
in her
thing is
lane.
this, it would be a good idea to also have her on a roster, but you see the hate coming from Aisha already. I
yeah,
can see that being a conflict too. If Aisha feels like Gemma is supporting sis more than her, or giving
yep.
more attention, or I can see that
That's
messing
why
with
they
things.
say never go into business with your family and friends.
But actually,
Yeah.
I can see that being a conduit for her to go to California because,
Mm.
yeah, that right there, that might
I
just
can
come out
see
of
that.
California.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that too. So, I mean, I don't know. The kids are all graduated now. So this is kind of like, I feel like this is the end of an era.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
that's what I was like. Okay, are we coming to the end of the Shy? I was thinking
Yeah.
that too. I'm like, this is giving me
Yeah,
uh
that's true.
series ending vibes.
Yeah.
And I mean,
A little bit. Because I'm like,
yeah,
they could also take this and carry it forward and bring in a new generation of younger people, and then have kind of Kevin, Maisha, and all them kind of mentoring the next crew that's coming up behind them.
But you
Because
got
that's kind of like
Kevin.
what this show is. It's a cycle, and it's like a repeat of people passing that information back and trying to build community
yeah.
for the next generation. So it happened with Brandon. He passed the torch to Emmett. I could see Emmett passing the torch to Kev and Papa and Bakari and all them. And then, it keeps going, because the thing about Chicago and any place in the world is, it don't change overnight.
No.
And so it has to be a continuous cycle. I just feel like I seen something. I think one of the pages on Instagram posted, like from the first season, them as kids, and then now with them at the prom. And I seen that together, and I was like, "Wow, we really watched them grow up." I feel old.
We did. They were young, and now they are young men and women.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh, it's bittersweet, because it's like, you kind of want to see them keep going as adolescents, but they got to be adults at some point. So now you see them stepping into adulthood and then into maturity. So I'm hoping they keep it going.
Well, I thought I felt
I hope so too.
I felt a little closure in the sense, because it would be hard to think if Kevin and Maisha went to Cali, and I don't know, can the show be sustaining without the two of them?
I think it could, for sure.
Yeah, because it's so many characters,
Mhm.
And then it'll come back and forth, because then we got Keisha and Emmett. See if they even survive or make it, in their relationship.
That's looking.
Yeah,
That ain't
yeah.
looking.
It's looking.
It's
They
on
on
the
the struggle. They on the struggle bus right now.
And that's
They are. They on
a
the
short
struggle
struggle bus.
Yeah, and then like Rob said he ain't really all like that, or he doesn't do this all the time. I just hope he don't get himself killed trying to avenge Douda,
Or arrested.
Yeah, so
Yep.
it's so many ways these situations can go.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
can
I
see at
think
least another season out of it, but yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's still plenty story to tell, in my opinion.
Oh, it's plenty of story to tell. Plus, we don't even know what the second half of the season is gonna look like.
Right, because they're doing this first half, which is, I guess, episodes 1 through 8, and then after a little hiatus, they're gonna pick up with 8 through
after
16.
the strike.
Yeah, so that's how I was like, we ain't even really.
So that's what I said. So we'll see how, once we see the other half, we'll have a better understanding of what's happening.
But the problem with this strike, though, I mean, let's say the strike ends New Year 24. We probably won't see another episode until at least 25.
I don't know. I'm hoping the strike don't last that long.
Well, I mean,
unless
things are already written, because it takes at least a good 8 months to write and
But it might
film.
be already written, and it might just be a matter of shooting at this point.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's the
Mhm.
case. I really am.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while. When you think about like
Yeah,
stars, we see stuff is coming back to back. We are in a strike right now, but Force is back.
Mhm.
Raising Canaan will be back December 1st, and I saw BMF announce that March 1st and stuff. So there are things in the can.
hmm
Yeah. I just know I feel like they definitely have plenty more story to go, and they not gonna leave us hanging.
I
No,
hope
So
I don't think so. I don't think we're
not.
gonna be left.
I think they'll figure something out, and I hope that it's in favor of the actors and the writers, and
I
that it
hope
comes
so, too.
sooner than later.
Yes.
So, do you guys have any nominations for the Who Can Get the Hands list outside of Otis? Because we
Okay.
already know Otis got a permanent spot.
Yeah, he has a permanent spot. Douda. Well, should Nook get it? Because if Nook is the one that actually took out Papa
Stanley?
Stanley, he deserved a hands too.
Do you
I
think that was
agree.
Nook? I think it
Yeah,
was.
I think so. Because he told him in episode 4, he said, take care of him. And Nook said, say less.
Right.
So
So
I think if it's not Douda, I think it's Nook.
Seemed like the guy was a little smaller than what Nook would appear now.
So you think it might be the younger dude?
Yeah, because
the car thief.
because he's hungry anyways.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is him then.
Yeah.
Well, whoever it is, they can get the hands.
They can get the hands. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You know what? We didn't touch on this. I know we still don't know who gets the hands, but the argument that Papa had with his dad about the young lady. I was like, how did y'all feel about Papa's dad saying that to him about like you're too young to deal with this girl? Like he was like forbidding him to see her because she had a child.
That was wrong. That was wrong.
I thought that was wrong.
And here's the reason. Your son is not a baby anymore. He just graduated and he needs to be able to make his own decisions, good, bad, or indifferent. And for you to have never even met the woman or the child, and as a pastor, and you just putting your, that's what bothered me. You come on now, you can't be two-faced with this thing.
The glass house, throwing stones from the glass house, because I was like, you went to the bin.
Yeah, and he was making judgments on Kenya based on who her father was.
Exactly.
And he was basically saying the apple don't fall far from the tree. That's why she's pregnant. That's why she got a child.
And you took money from Douda at one point too. So I mean, what is this?
That's what I said. So that was very judgmental of him, and I thought he was wrong in his
it was, but I understand his concern too at the same time, because Papa is a sheltered child.
Yes.
And I could see him kind of falling in and trying to take on the responsibility of being a stepfather when you are fresh out of school. You haven't even lived your life yet. So I do understand him trying to be protective in that way too.
I did understand that.
No, and I do too. And I think it's his responsibility to lay out to Papa the conditions that he's facing or coming up, and trying to raise someone else's child. That's heavy. That's heavy for a grown-up, let alone a 17, 18-year-old.
Exactly.
But after you've spoken and said your piece, you kind of have to step back and let him do what he's going to do. Kicking him out of the house is not the thing. I don't think that was something that he should have said. If you leave out the house, you don't come back.
Yeah.
That was wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
And they both probably said a lot of things in the heat of the moment that, definitely are going to be regretted. But it's kind of like when you're trying to make your point, you say things you regret, like I said. But I think Papa's father really should have, had he stuck around to see the next day, he should have at least met Kenya and tried to see, what Papa sees in her and just guide him from there. But, being so heavy-handed is only going to force your child to rebel against you.
That's right. And the more you rebel, or rather, the more you put up resistance, the closer they get. Sometimes it's just better to leave it alone. Speak your piece and leave it alone. And you never know. The relationship may not work out anyways. I mean, there's no guarantee on the relationship. Papa may come to a conclusion that I can't do this,
Right, because trust me, as a child, you might not want to hear it, but you hear it.
That's
It might not be what you want to hear, but you do hear the advice and you kind of take heed at the same time, even if it's not the response you want. So Papa heard them loud and clear, but it's kind of like that's not really helping my situation right now.
Right.
So I feel for Papa. Keep Papa in your prayers, y'all.
Yes. Because I hope he doesn't spiral behind this.
And he could very well, or go out and do something stupid like Emmett,
Yeah. Now, do we have a nominee for the game ball? Because I'm trying to think of one, but it's kind of hard this episode.
I'm gonna give it to Jamal. Yeah.
Because he was
because he was cool.
He took Bakari under his wing and kind of gave him a little guidance and some reassurance.
Like a big brother and stuff, a mentor and stuff. And our brothers need that.
Yep.
Our
brothers need that. So
definitely.
That was definitely a good look. What do y'all think about? What do y'all think about Vic telling Rob?
Ulterior motives.
Okay.
I can't give him a game ball. I mean, he almost gets the hands for that, but let's do this. Half a hand.
We'll leave it at Jamal.
No, we'll give him half a hand and half a game ball. Because we're gonna have to. This is the only way I can finalize that one is whatever the outcome is, and we don't know.
Right.
Yeah, well, Jamal is probably the only one that's like clean cut right now.
Indeed.
Yeah. For the game
I agree. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Right.
Well, this has been a great discussion. To all the viewers out there, thank you for watching. Please drop down into the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode, as well as any predictions that you have for the remainder of the season. Also, make sure to follow us on social media at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like the video and also click that notification bell. Share our channel with your friends and family. Let them know how great The Spot Real Talk is. Let them know about all our awesome recaps and all the great interviews we have. And speaking of interviews, if you check out that interview tab, we have a whole playlist of past interviews. We definitely did one with Lena Waithe. We did one with some of the cast members from The Chi. So check that out.
Genesis. Who plays Maisha, Judea Brown, who plays Gemma.
Jada.
Yep.
Jada, Yolanda Ross.
Yep. And we recently had one with Derek Big Tank Thornton, who does the music for The Chi. So check that out as well. We got a lot of good stuff and some more coming up the alley. So be on the lookout. You guys got anything else to add before we close out?
Nope.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to call it a night. Thanks for watching and be back next week for a recap of episode 7. Good night.
I wonder who hurt you. I wonder who made you so mad. Tell me, where did you learn to be so negative? You're such a